Hi, YouTube family. Welcome back to Recording Movies Recap. Today I will show you a crime thriller film from 2021 titled Midnight. It's late at night when a young woman finally leaves her workplace after doing extra hours. A group of guys take the taxi she saw first, so now she's stuck walking home. As she takes the dark road, she's approached by a van, and its driver, Dushik, offers to take her home. The woman refuses, not wanting to get in a car with a stranger, but after walking a bit more, she hears some weird noises. She turns around to find the van door open and the sound of someone crying and asking for help coming from it. When she comes closer and takes a peek, however, she finds a bunch of clothes and the body of a dead man, because the one making the noises had been Dushik, who now grabs her and drags her inside to kill her before she can escape. Moments later, after having called 911 and changed into clean clothes, Dushik receives two police officers while pretending to be incredibly distressed. He points at the place where he left the bodies and pretends he found them there by accident, saying he saw a group of workers stab the woman. Some days later, Kim Kyung-mi is working at her usual desk in customer service. She's a deaf young woman, so she is in charge of taking the calls from other deaf and mute customers by talking to them using sign language through video calls. Just like regular customer service though, there are rude customers that call her names and give her the finger. After work, she goes to a company dinner even if she can't be part of the conversation. All the men at the table take advantage of her deafness to talk in a rude. But they don't know she can read lips, so in return, she signs back a bunch of insults that they think are compliments. Afterward, she goes to pick up her deaf mother from her own work, a tailor's shop, saving her from almost getting run over by a bike thanks to the sound sensor on her car. Her mother is very happy because she's been paid well this month, and now the two of them can have that vacation at the beach they wanted. In another part of the city, Choi Seo-young is getting ready to go out, but her brother, security guard Jong Tak, has been very overprotective since their parents' death. So he argues with her over what clothes she's wearing and what time she's allowed to come home. She promises to be good, but later, she ignores her brother's texts while she's on her date and doesn't go home as early as she promised. Since she doesn't pick up her phone either, Jong Tak decides to go out and look for her. It's late at night when Dushik goes out to find another victim. He sees Kyung-mi leave her mother near an alarm post while she searches for a spot to park, and chooses to go after her, but at that moment, Seo-young appears walking down the same street, so Dushik decides she shall do instead. He runs and quickly jumps on her, going unnoticed because Kyung-mi's mother is walking the other way and can't hear anything. After she's done with her, he moves to check with the mother, but his plans keep getting interrupted. First, Jong Tak stops by to ask the mother if he's seen his sister, leaving after getting a negative answer, and then Kyung-mi returns from the parking lot. On her way to meet her mother, she sees a white shoe suddenly coming out of a dark alley, and there's also someone calling out for help too even if she can't hear it. After a second shoe comes out, Kyung-mi decides to enter the alley and finds a crying, bleeding Seo-young asking for help. Before she can do anything, Dushik appears with an axe and jumps on Kyung-mi to kill her, but Seo-young pushes him off, giving Kyung-mi the chance to run. Kyung-mi returns to the street, and when she sees her mom, she chooses to run the opposite way to protect her. She goes back to the parking lot and hides among the cars as she makes her way to the back door, which has a very squeaky handle. As she begins opening it as carefully as she can, Dushik hears the noise and goes after her, but thankfully Kyung-mi opens the door just in time. The door is chained on the other side, so she can't open it completely, but the gap is enough for a petite girl like her to go through and leave a bigger man like Dushik behind. Kyung-mi makes it to her car and calls her mom to tell her to wait for her by the alarm, but right after she hangs up, Dushik appears on the back seat with a knife in his hand. He makes her drive, but instead of taking him out of the building, she drives toward the wall, stopping right before they crash and using the opportunity to escape. Another running chase begins, and Kyung-mi manages to make it to his mom before Do-shik can catch her. But because Kyung-mi presses the alarm button, Do-shik can't come closer anymore, so while the women wait for the police, he returns to his van. After hiding Seo-young's body in it, he changes clothes and hairstyle to look like a normal businessman, then approaches the women with a carefree expression. Kyung-mi doesn't recognize him because the killer had been wearing a mask and a hat, so when this man says he's looking for his sister, Kyung-mi believes him. She's about to take him to the dark alley when the police arrive, but the officer finds the alley empty. Kyung-mi requests to see the security cameras, but the guard at the parking lot shows them they've been turned off by kids that hang there to smoke. But since she can't talk, they ignore her. Do-shik is coming closer, so she has no other choice but to take out the knife to defend herself, making everyone step back in a circle around them. A man in the crowd tries to call the police, but Do-shik stops him by saying that's her sister, who has issues and the cops would scare her into hurting herself. Kyung-mi uses this moment as a distraction to run away. A moment later, however, the police find her and take her back to Do-shik. Believing the sister story, they also give the knife back to him. Once they're gone, Kyung-mi starts crying, and with the few sounds she manages to make, she begs her not to kill him because she still has so much left to do. Not wanting to do this in front of people, Do-shik takes her to a nearby alley, and after telling her she almost convinced her but it wasn't enough, he gets ready to stab her. Thankfully, Jong-tak arrives then and stops him just in time. The two men begin fighting, and Jong-tak manages to grab Do-shik with a hold around his neck to choke him. He lets go once he passes out and goes to check on Kyung-mi, letting her know that Seo-young is safe at the hospital and her mom is nearby. He's suddenly interrupted by Do-shik, who only pretended to pass out and is now hitting Jong-tak with empty bottles and various other pieces of trash. Kyung-mi gets him to stop by picking up the knife, so Do-shik decides to leave the alley and go after the mother instead. He finds her in the middle of the commercial area and approaches her, asking her to follow him into a dark alley, but at that moment Kyung-mi sees them and comes after him with her knife in hand. Do-shik makes fun of her because she's failed to stab him and only managed to hurt his hand instead. However, that's part of the plan. She's put the knife in his hands and stabbed herself, making it look as if it was him. The crowd steps back, effectively believing the trick and not listening to him when he says it wasn't him. The police arrive then and shoot at the air as a warning, but Do-shik won't stop moving, so they shoot him on the body a couple of times. This is still not enough, especially because Kyung-mi provokes Do-shik by giving him the finger, but when Do-shik is about to try again, Seo-young arrives and tackles him to the ground where he finally dies. Many days later, Kyung-mi and her mother go to the beach to have the vacation they dreamed of. Seo-young and Jong-tak join them as well, and after showing them how they've been learning some sign language, the four of them take a picture together. Thanks for watching.